Welcome to the Pineapple Pinup the Hot Wife Life podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about a day off date with POV filming. And I'm going to talk, I have another clip of my husband talking about how he convinced me to get into the lifestyle. And then I answer a question about planning parties for a guest. Stay tuned. When I have an unexpected day off where I'm at home by myself, like all alone. And those are the days that I spend doing things that aren't necessarily in my husband's fun zone. I do a lot of crafting. I do a lot of weird baking. I do things that are kind of solitary endeavors. But on this day, when I was home alone, I embraced the chance to do some crafting and get ready for the holidays that are like coming way too fast. And as the day wore on and I was finishing up the projects I was doing, I realized that I had this opportunity. I had an opportunity to invite somebody over. Um, so I texted a couple of friends. One said I couldn't, and then the other one, Josh, said, "On my way." Um, he is remarkably the most available guy I have ever started a thing with. He is the most available guy I have ever encountered in this type of atmosphere. He lets me know when he is not available. If I ask him, "Hey, are you available?" He will tell me right away, "No." If he is available, he is like, "You tell me when, you tell me what time, I will be there. Let's get this thing done." He is always coming in clutch for me, and I love it. He was close by too because he was working in the area, and so he was like, "Well, I'm gonna have to go home and shower," and I'm like, "Why don't you just come here and shower?" I mean, honestly, we have done so many more intimate things than you taking a shower at my house, so come on over. So he came over, and my husband, I texted him to let him know that he was coming over. My husband was very specific about what he wanted me to wear. So I went upstairs and I put on the things that he wanted me to wear. It was purple lingerie, and he wanted me to answer the door in this lace bra cups, diaphanous faux skirt that splits down the front and like splits down the middle in the front, and then a pair of, I don't know if you can call them panties, because literally there's one triangle of fabric and then there's just strings everywhere else. And this is, believe me, this is, G-strings are something that people actually wear, but I'm not entirely sure what they're wearing them for. You're not wearing them for comfort. You're literally just wearing them to expose everything quickly, which is awesome. And they work perfectly for that. So anyway, so I'm dressed that way, and he tells me for sure that he wants me to answer the door that way. So I answer the door, and he and Josh comes in, and we of course take photos to prove that I did in fact answer the door that way. So I'm sending him photos as we're going, and we go upstairs. Now, my husband and I record a lot of content. So much content, in fact, that recently, this is a problem that a lot of people have had with their Google. All of a sudden, my phone kept telling me I'm out of storage, I'm out of storage, I'm out of storage, and that I needed to buy an upgrade so that I could maintain the function of my phone. I had done it, but it still wasn't working because I didn't hit the button. Anyway, it's a problem that a lot of us have had recently because Google decided that you make it free for everybody to use your platform until such time as you're not getting as much on your platform, and then you start charging people. Anyway, it's a genius plan. I mean, they're number 1 in the world for a reason. Anyway, um, so because of the fact that my husband and I do record a great deal of content, I started recording on my phone, only to get about 6 minutes in before my phone died. Now, I was not paying attention. My phone was like, "I'm out of storage. I'm not doing anymore. I quit." And so it sort of just went black. And then we were in the middle of what we were doing and totally didn't notice. But I have another phone. So we picked that phone up and we started doing POV shooting. Now, POV shooting for me is so sexy. Like, there are problems with it, of course. The angles that you get, the things that you see, the close-ups. Again, I'm not super comfortable with how my body looks, but I am absolutely positive that if there were any genre that I was going to watch, it would be the genre of the POV, because it is what I was seeing when I was in the moment. And at points, Josh took the camera and was recording. He was recording me on top, which is not an angle that usually anybody gets to see other than the bull, because it is mostly from the back or from the side or something like that, where you're not actually seeing what's taking place between the two of us. And all of the shimmy and shake that's happening on his dick, you're not getting that. You're getting some far off view of abundance of flesh moving about. Whereas when you're doing POV, you can see the lips opening to allow access to this column of meat that is invading, and what kind of give is happening within that pussy. You can see it all taking place, and how the column is just engulfed and then released and then engulfed and then released, and ugh. And I mean, he was getting angles the of doggy style as well, where you can see that same ebb and flow, that same swallow and release, that same like penetration from an angle that is usually reserved for the one person who's doing the inserting. He and I had a great deal of fun playing with that POV camera. And I am absolutely positive that there is something about doing POV that is you are more included as the viewer in the intimacy of the moment. You are more included because there are things that I've never seen that I got to see. Like, obviously, never seen is like, but like in this moment, things that I wouldn't be able to see because I don't have a giraffe neck. Like, if I had different body parts, this all would be very, very different story. But the thing is that because I don't get to see the same things, it's very fun for me to get those angles, and it's very primal and intimate, and shows the base need that is being fulfilled with this act of penetration. It is all of the quiver, all of the delight, all of the spraying. Um, for me, I love it, and, I really wish that, it didn't interfere so much with the actual activities to do those shots, because it does very much hinder your ability to be in the moment when you're trying to maintain the shot, you know what I mean? So, I occasionally, I think that that kinda stuff might be done because I do find it incredibly erotic. I find it incredibly intimate and inclusive and makes my husband part of the like, obviously, we shoot these for my husband, but then he does other stuff with them. So, because we shoot these for my husband, that is my goal, is to include him in what was taking place in that moment, in that room. I personally am a huge fan of that, and I really am grateful that Josh was able to, you know, come along and accommodate me. Um, but anyway, so basically we actually started that day. He licked me a lot that day. He um he was very attentive with his mouth, and it was amazing. And I got a story about that later, but anyway, um I really we are really looking forward to the moment when my husband and I and Josh when Josh and I can play condom free, because I am I have my rules. We test and then we go condom free with only one other person. So I'm only condom free with Josh. And then um if things change and Josh and I are no longer, then when we'll start the process over. It'll start with testing, it'll start with, blah blah blah. Okay. One of the things that I truly do look forward to is going condom free. I go I'm p I am very interested in going condom free with Josh because of the fact that it is a much different dynamic. It is a much different feel. It is a much different endeavor. And the reclaiming with my husband just sloshing around in someone else's spunk is just, it's out of this world. It's unreal. And for that and that alone, I really am looking forward to, we're very close, because the process does take time, and the process does take complete and utter trust that you're going exclusive with me and me only, and I'm going exclusive with you and you only as far as the condoms go. I am not going I've never I've never been super good at exclusives. So this is the one thing that I'm actually like, I will fuck other people, but they will wear condoms. And that is kind of our hard limit, because it's not just me that I'm playing with. I'm playing roulette for more than one person, and that's not fair. So we do it in a way that maintains our safety, and we do it because this is somebody that has shown up for me time and time again, and has been time and time again my go-to. So that is why in those times when I do go exclusive with this one act, it is important to me. It is um serious. And I can't wait. Anyway, um, but that day we did, because of the fact that the camera failed, we did do a lot of POV, and I could only imagine how awesome it would have looked to catch him covering me in cum. And I'm kinda looking forward to doing some POV shooting when we get to that point. Anyway, I think it's hot. So, everybody has a few questions that they kinda want to know from you.
Okay.
Um, how long did it take you to convince me to do this?
1 minute.
Oh, no, we talked about it for a while before I
Yeah,
finally
so
agreed.
several
Several months, right?
several months where we were talking seriously about it,
Mhm.
um, where uh, I expressed my actual fantasy versus the play we were doing and the fact that it could be real.
Mm.
And then uh, basically went from there. But it was a couple months of saying this is what I want and disbelief and
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, skepticism.
yeah.
Let's not say disbelief. Let's just say skepticism.
Okay.
Okay. So, what has been your takeaway from all this? What has been the highlights for you?
All of it, honestly. Um, it's extremely exciting. It's something I didn't even know I would like the way I liked it. Um, when we had dabbled before at parties, like um, it, I was more scared, and with my newfound "we only live once" thing,
Mhm.
I kind of let down my guard and just embraced it, and um, and it's been great. So um, I think that you're getting um, in a just sexual way very satisfied and getting to have a lot of fun and adventures. I'm getting satisfied. I still get to have all the same amount of time that we've always had and made for each other.
Mhm.
Um, our fantasies, even though we're out actually living a lot of them, we still have fantasies in bed every time we talk. Nothing has gotten more boring or, oh, I'm just having sex with you this time or anything like that. All the things that I was always afraid of is has not been.
Yeah.
And
As a matter of fact, I think our sex has gotten better
yeah,
because we talk so much more
absolutely.
and we say things so much more boldly
Yeah. It
than
was
we.
always hooded before. It
Yeah.
was
So
always
it's like,
part of the fantasy. You don't want to turn anybody off.
mhm,
Um, so that's always been, in parts of sex for for both of us.
right.
Um, you had a lot of things you were into that for a long time I didn't have any idea, and this was not even in the realm of a possibility for a long time.
Exactly.
Even when we went, to the club or to the hotel takeover party and things like that, it still was just the slightest little dabble. And, we would message somebody and then giggle, giggle, giggle. And then,
And then nothing happened.
yeah. And then, my side backed out of it. And then, I voiced concerns and you ran away once I voiced any concern at all
Exactly.
the last time because it wasn't worth the relationship to do this versus lose a marriage and family and the whole deal. So, but now that we've kind of gone back and my life changes and my position in life have changed, that was what, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
almost.
It was, yeah, it
We
was
were in late 30s, I
2007.
think, and it's a lot different now that I'm in my 50s and and you're at least that. But it's a lot different. It's a lot different. Have a different perspective in life that we've done the just get along to get the kids through, and you don't want to make waves or do anything too risque. And we did all that. The kids have grown and moved out, and eventually they'll stop using all our money. And but they've moved and became adults, and so that allowed us to have our adult time. And I think we're going in full force, and it's been great. It's been great.
I agree.
It doesn't mean we don't have issues, but
That's true.
but we work through them and go from there. And we always have said that no matter what, there is an absolute stop button to the whole of this. And it would go away in a moment's notice if it meant the relationship. And that's, at least until we settle our relationship issues at that point, it would be full stop. And with that comfort mixed with, you only live once, I think it's gone well.
And we've taken a couple of breaks.
Yeah.
Like, not long breaks. I mean, a couple of months here, a month there.
Yeah.
But we took those breaks for the health of our marriage, for the health of ourselves.
Yeah. For the physical health.
For the physical health. Yeah, that was the big
we've
one.
had things. It's just part of life. So
exactly.
We've
and
but
also,
but it's still the fantasy. I mean, it's no, it is not a lie. The only porn that I've watched in probably over a year now has been porn of you.
Oh.
That's what I that's what I masturbate to. That's what is my fantasy, is what's happening. So and get to watch that back and all that. It's been, I mean, obviously I'm getting a lot out of it, and I believe you are as well. So,
I am.
Yeah.
And the other thing that this has really done for us is it's gotten us out of a rut. Because for a very long time, the only thing we ever did was sit on the couch, watch TV.
This is part two of the whole thing. Is I made a conscious decision that I was tired of
being tired.
What we were doing. Yeah, we stayed home. We really dedicated ourselves to
raising children
and doing all that bullshit, and neglected ourselves.
Absolutely. And our relationship.
Well, our relationship did pretty well, but I mean, it was definitely with accommodation for each other in a lot of ways. To make the peace and keep the peace, and we still had a pretty good relationship. I mean, we still were sexually active and like to see each other generally. Sure. But we just didn't go out. We just didn't go out at all.
And we didn't foster a lot of you and me time.
Yeah.
We fostered a lot of together time, but it wasn't you and me time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So ever since the adjustment in your attitude and your only live once philosophy, we have become more we've become more of a team. I feel like we really listen to one another and really hear each other. And there are still conflicts, obviously, because it's a freaking marriage, not a
Yeah. This isn't a cartoon.
exactly real. And I love the fact that our relationship has bloomed in such a way that we are experiencing new things and finding new ways to be together and finding new ways to connect. So I got from a listener, I had a few questions that I thought you might have some good input on. If you don't, that is fine. How do you go about planning a sex party? I mean, what do you do to make sure axe murderers don't show up? Seriously, though, how do you go about making sure that everybody who shows up is respectful, polite, no STDs, etc.? he goes on to explain that it takes time to get to know a person well enough to be sure they'd be a good fit, blah, blah, blah. So that's, okay. Actually, I'm going to read that. It takes time to get to know a person well enough to be sure they'd be a good fit for my wife and I. Um, the chemistry has to be right. We all walk away with a smile. Our face is very good memory from the experience. Um, okay. So that's not what a sex party is. A sex party is not about chemistry and intimacy and um, all of those long-term, in-depth, like emotional connections that make everybody. A sex party is literally wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, next in line. It is without a doubt bacchanalia. It is hedonism. It is all of the taboo things that we're not supposed to want from a stranger coming from a stranger. All the things that we're supposed to be too polite and too refined to act. It is animal style. Let's just fuck. I don't need to know your like half the people that I fuck, I don't know their names. I don't get their names until after they get up off me. This is that is the difference between what you're talking about with the setting up like a special meet for you and your lady. Um, but let's talk about how to set up a very successful sex party. Um, you can't know if you're throwing a party all of the details of your guests. Parties are not for everyone, and if you need intimate and emotional connection, then you aren't getting that at a party. My husband and I do RSVP so that it has to be accepted so that we can vet the guests. My husband requires that they have a photo on their profile, be close to the area, and we get a balance of the guest list girl to guy ratio. You're never going to know if they are STD free or if they are serial killers. But you do the best you can, and you require that they wear condoms to keep the risk at a minimum. Even if someone tells you they are STD free, they can lie. And even if they supply you with test results, those can be faked. There's a lot of faith and offsetting of the risk. You do what you can to protect yourself by being proactive with the available protection. And most of the time, serial killers are not going to attack in a group, which is why parties are much safer than one-on-one meets with someone you've never met before. Have a venue, have a theme, those help. Have a date and time, advertise on your preferred app, and then you decide who gets to come. Make sure you have drinks and snacks, condoms, and lube. We have speakers for music, shower curtain liners to prevent damage to the mattresses, wipes, and extra towels. Those are the basics of what we try to. We actually have a go kit. And this is one of the most important things I can tell you about party planning. Control your guest list. Control who you are inviting ratio wise, numbers wise, because you can only do the best you can do with regards to who shows up. But if you are inviting 60 men and 2 women, your party is going to be a sausage fest. If you get a ratio of like maybe 6 women to, 18 men, your ratios are much more conducive to actual play. I am not 100% sure how you can make sure that the women that you're inviting will play, or that how you know that the men that you're inviting will ask them to play. That was a lot of the difficulty that we ran into last time, was that there was a lot of shyness going on with the men, and the women just weren't being asked. So that just meant that I went on a marathon tour with my vagina. I was I was, the party favor of the year, that one, and it's fine, but you have to make sure that if you're doing a party, you're not doing a straight up sausage fest because it will not be a successful party. Nobody will leave there going, "Wow, I had a great time." Everybody's gonna leave there going, "God, I wish I could have gotten some," and especially if you're charging for the party. I mean, if you're charging for the party, because it is not cheap to put on a s a party at a venue, at a hotel. It is not inexpensive because you are buying things like condoms and lube and shower curtains, and you are supplying a hotel room and snacks, and there's a lot of financial endeavor that goes into this. That is why many of the party planners, they make sure that they get certain number of girls lined up, and then when they throw their party, they advertise that those girls are coming because there are certain girls that have a reputation that they will play, that they'll play every time, no matter what, no matter like season doesn't matter. So it is very, very important to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, you've got your ratios correct. And if you are charging, you want it to be a good experience because that is how you get a good reputation and get a good following and get a good um influx for every party or endeavor you set out to do. Um it takes a minute to get that vote of confidence from everyone, but it takes only a minute to lose it. I've been to some parties where it was nothing, like nothing was going on, nothing at all. Nothing was happening. And those are the ones that we don't really go back to. So, or you get, if you're not controlling what you're doing, you get these events that happen where it's standing room only and nobody could fuck in there if they wanted to because you're all in a pen and there's a walkway and that's it. Otherwise, it's bodies stacked upon bodies. When there are 12 couples going at it on one bed, that is more than any bed is supposed to be. I mean, that's it, and it's too much, and there's not enough room, and then it's too hot, and then you can't breathe, and then you start to get panicky, and it feels like the crowd is coming in on you, and it's because it is. When it's too crowded, you need to be able to control the atmosphere of the room. You need to be able to control the temperature in the room. You need to be able to put together all of the comfort modules that you can to make sure that people are having a good time and that they have space to do the thing that they're there to do. So you have to think about the number of women you are inviting versus the number of beds that you have, knowing that beds can be shared because I've been at parties where there was this one party. Oh, I think I may have told you about it, but I was on the bed with a girl on her back being fucked by her guy while her friend, her female friend, was massaging her, getting fucked from behind while I was on my back next to them getting fucked. It was the most surreal and intriguing mashup of bodies and like pleasure sounds. It was amazing. It was so much fun. So sharing a bed is not uncommon. But what you need to know is like how much can this room take body wise? And you have to really put thought into that because the last thing you want is people to leave because they didn't have a place to do their fucking. I mean, it's a fuck party. That's what you're there to do, and if you don't have room to do it, it's going to end up giving you a bad reputation in the party world. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Pineapple Pinup, the Hot Wife Life podcast. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you have any questions, hit me up on my Gmail, hit me up on my socials. They're in the description. My Gmail is pineapplepinuppod@gmail.com. I am always anxious to answer your questions. Have a great day.